Professor Young's The Evolution Theory from the Viewpoint of Christianity, the thorough analysis of the descent or origin of man. Lecture 25, Chapter 17. Secondary sexual characters of mammals. With mammals, the male appears to win the female much more through the law of battle than through the display of his charms. The most timid animals, not proved with any special weapons for fighting, engage in desperate conflicts during the season of love. Two male hares have been seen to fight together until one was killed. Male moles often fight, and sometimes with fatal results. Male squirrels engage in frequent contests and often wound each other severely, as do male beaver, so that hardly a skin is without scars. The law of battles prevails with aquatic as with terrestrial mammals. All male animals which are furnished with special weapons for fighting are well known to engage in fierce battles. The courage and the desperate conflicts of stags have often been found in various parts of the world, with the horns inextricably locked together, showing how miserably the victor and vanquished had perished. In 1861, several bulls contended for mastery, and it was observed that two of the younger bulls attacked in concert the old leader of the herd, overthrew and disabled him, so that he was believed by the keepers to be lying mortally wounded in a neighboring wood. But a few days afterwards, one of the young bulls approached the wood alone, and then the monarch of the chase, who had been lashing himself up for vengeance, came out and in a short time killed his antagonist. He then quietly joined the herd and long held the undisputed sway. When the males are provided with weapons which in the females are absent, there can be hardly a doubt that these serve for fighting with other males, and that they were acquired through sexual selection and were transmitted to the male sex alone. It is not probable, at least in most cases, that the females have been prevented from acquiring such weapons on account of their being useless, superfluous, or in some way injurious. It is a surprising fact that they are so poorly developed or quite absent in the females of so many animals, nor is it probable that she can have inherited horns from some progenitor of the family of deer, for from the fact of the females of so many species in all the quarters of the globe not having horns, we may conclude that this was the primordial character of the group. In all the wild species of goats and sheep, the horns are larger in the male than in the female, and are sometimes quite absent in the latter. In several domestic breeders of these two animals, the males alone are furnished with horns, and in some breeders, for instance in the sheep of North Wales, though both sexes are probably horned, the youths and very liable to be hornless. With the adult musk ox, the horns of the male are larger than those of the female. In most of the wild bovine animals, the horns are both longer and thicker in the bull than in the cow. From these various factors, we may infer as probable that horns of all kinds, even when they are equally developed in the two sexes, were primarily acquired by the male in order to conquer the other males, and have been transferred more or less completely to the female. The effects of castration deserve notice as throwing light on this same point. Stags, after the operation, never renew their horns. The male reindeer, however, must be accepted as after castration he does renew them. This fact, as well as the possession of horns by both sexes, seems at first to prove that the horns in these species do not constitute a sexual character. With sheep, both sexes properly bear horns, and I am informed that with Welsh sheep, the horns of the males are considerably reduced by castration. Merino rams have large horns, whilst the ewes, generally speaking, are without horns, and in this breed castration seems to produce a somewhat greater effect, so that if performed at an early age, the horns remain almost undeveloped. On the Guinea coast, there is a breed in which the females never bear horns, and as Mr. Reedy informs me, the rams after castration are quite destitute of them. With cattle, the horns of the males are much altered by castration, for instead of being short and thick, they became longer than those of cow, but otherwise resemble them. Now it is a remarkable fact that in the castrated male, the horns are of the same peculiar shape as in the female, but long and thicker. So here, the disturbance in the constitution of the individual resulting from castration produces the same effect. Although the horns of stags are efficient weapons, there can, I think, be no doubt that a single point would have been much more dangerous than a branched antler. Shalom.